So the question, like, what led me to start doing this? Well, basically, um, just before lockdown, I had basically the worst mental health experience of my life, where I developed. I was in uni, and I kind of developed. There wasn't even necessarily anything terrible going on, but I just developed like this really bad panic disorder. Then I got put on like just really terrible. I had really terrible anxiety. Then I got put on like some medication to help it. Then I got then I had like a bad reaction to the medication. Then I developed this terrible panic disorder, and my life just went from suddenly just being at uni, thriving, having a great time, zoom, suddenly straight to like I can't leave the house. I pretty much got kicked out of my university house because I was having so many panic attacks. When I started like calling the ambulance, and then it was just a nightmare to the point where at one point, I was just living pretty much in the emergency room in the hospital. I would call an ambulance every day. I'd get the blood tests. They'd be like, "You're fine. It's fine. Oh, Peter, you see you here 10 times," and then I go home, and then I'd just start panicking again, and then I'd go straight back. And then there was a time where I felt I was it couldn't I was done. Like my life would never go back to normal.
You rock bottom.
I couldn't see like I was like I begged the people at the hospital. There was this like psychiatric unit ward thing that I was like, oh yeah, I need to go in there because I can't even live at my house because I couldn't even stay at home without panicking. My parents couldn't help me. I was always ending up back to hospital, and I was like, well, maybe if I like live in a hospital environment for a few weeks or something, I'll feel better. Then I went to do that. Then I had a terrible experience in there because I went in there I voluntarily went in for a day, and the staff were pretty terrible, and like, you know, it was terrifying. So then I left there, and the next thing I know, I'm just kind of rotting away at home. But so it sounds a very terrible story, but there is a bright side of it.
Yeah, because you're
So
smiling beautifully now, so I can
yeah,
tell it's ridiculous.
so I realized, I got to that point, and it was this dark place in my life, and I was like, oh, there's no way out. And I really believe that like I'm just gonna be stuck like this forever. And if you have anxiety or like panic attacks, you know how like it's very like comes over you, it's debilitating. And I started doing things like to try and to like I was like, no, I can't like just give up on this. I have to like, now is the time where I have to make a difference. So I started, instead of calling an ambulance, I literally went to the hospital. I asked my dad to take me to the hospital because I knew I felt safe there. And then so I would just sit there and do some uni work on my laptop and just kind of relax. And then I'd wait a day, and then I'd go home, and then I'd still panic. But at least I had a day where I was kind of calm. And then I did this for a few weeks, and I was like just this guy that would just go live in live in the hospital in the cafe, and it was like, what is this? What is he doing here? Does he work here or something? And then I just realized like it's not it, I started realizing, well, like if I can exist here, what's the difference of when I'm at home and things like that. And I started kind of understanding all the things that I did learn in like therapy and stuff like that, and it started to make me feel a bit more have a bit more hope. But I was still like, it was still very, very bad. But over time, I got to a point where I could live at home again. I could kind of do little things, and then I basically started feeling good about all the things that I learned that actually helped me. And then I had a really great therapist as well, who I used to go for drives while on the phone with her, and she'd be like, and I'd be like, my heart was skipping, and she was like, no, don't, it's okay, don't turn around and things like that. And I would properly panic, but she taught me a lot. And then so basically I just started.
I was just going to say, to have someone who talks and walks you through that experience.
Exactly, yeah.
With a lot of people and lets you know that what you're feeling is normal. That's a godsend.
Oh yeah, that's the thing. And this is one of the main points that I'd always talk about, like all these weird symptoms and feelings that we feel. A lot of us anxiety people have, oh, we've been to the doctor, we've done it all, we know it's anxiety, but it's just like, how can this really be anxiety? This is really scary. This is terrifying. And but realizing that these, my whole message is like being comfortable with being uncomfortable at certain times. So like sometimes you're going to feel bad or you're going to feel anxious or things like that. But that is part of what happens in life, and it's often our, you know, we really hate uncertainty, you know, and it's trying to realize that that's okay if things are going to be quite uncertain, and regaining your confidence. So in the same way that I regained like a good level of my confidence, I've started to kind of wanting to share those things that helped me, because I know just how bad it can get for people. And I was like, I know there definitely are more people like that out there, and I hadn't personally met anyone, so it was really secluding. You know, it was really, I felt really alone. But I was like, surely there's
I'm
other
not
people
the
out there, you know, like there's community for anything, you know. And I was like, surely there's other people that feel the same. And so I really wanted to just talk about that
when
and
you
share.
when you thought about that, because I've noticed as well, since having more open conversations with you about it, it's opened my eyes. And then when I'm speaking to strangers, even my barber at the weekend was telling me about his kind of paranoid and panic attack episodes that he has. But it was amazing. We were in a barber shop having a haircut, and he felt so comfortable to talk about it. And I think just having a place where you can have that conversation with no judgment is amazing. And there's another question that I wanted to ask you. You know how you said, so you'd go to the hospital and then you would realize, actually, I can spend a day here in relative peace, and then I can go home and there's positives. It sounds like that's the foundation that you built off. What were those positives that you took away where it was like, okay, I feel calm here. I can do this in another situation? Because I think for some people who are at that place of rock bottom, it could be useful to know what are the like foundational elements that you built off. That makes sense.
It's hard to think. It's hard to explain. It's like I think most of us, when we're really anxious, we know it's the anxiety, and we know like part of it is like in the moment when I'm panicking, I don't think it's anxiety, and I think I'm going to die. But in the other moments when I'm not panicking, I'm still very anxious because I know I'm going to get to that moment where I will believe that I'm going to die. And it's like trying to understand that, like realizing that in the moments when you're not in that frame of mind, trying to keep that awareness for when you do start to kind of feel like really stressed and really anxious and panicking. And I think you need to have a place where you can understand how your body works, and that being calm and realizing that, okay, when I'm here, I feel fine. If there was something wrong with me, it's not just it's something wrong. If there's something wrong medically or something, it doesn't just, you know, and my doctor would always tell me this as well. If you had a heart problem, you won't just have a heart problem every time you
do a certain thing,
and then it goes away, and then when you're at your house, you're fine. It doesn't work like that. And so really understanding that, okay, I feel, you know, the difference between, and then bringing that elsewhere in your life, so you're able
to a situation.
Yeah.
I remember when I was at university and I had really good friends. So I did law, and we used to give presentations in class, and it was only like 15 people. But again, for a confident guy, I would stand up and I would speak to everyone fine. But then I would stand up in front of class. I would be sweating. I remember I was giving a presentation, and my mate thought I was dancing when I was in front of the class, and my leg was shaking so much. My leg was literally just twitching, and my voice went really high pitched. It already is high pitched, but it went squeaky, and I couldn't talk. And I used to just have to be like, I can't do this, and sit down. And it was only in my third year I realized this is normal, because every time I get on a stage, that's the reaction. So I think you once told me about it. You see those reactions occurring, you kind of almost breathe it in, and you don't take it, but you're like, okay, this is just what my body's going to do in this situation.
Exactly.
I'm not in danger right now. And then just having a moment to breathe and pause, and I think you can then reset yourself a lot.
Yeah, no, it's exactly, because for me, it's like now there's a difference. So before, as soon as I get like a heart palpitation or something or anything, I'd immediately get like, okay, I'm going to die. I'm scared. You know, something's wrong with me. And I'd immediately go in this direction and go into a full panic attack and just be terrified. And then what I realize now is I still have the same symptoms. I still have the palpitations. It all still happens, but I don't immediately go down that road you know, I have a moment to be like, okay, that is actually what happens when you're anxious, and that's normal.
Yeah.
And then I can kind of steer it in this direction and just allow it to happen, and that actually makes it go away quicker. But it's, I always have to think, like, importantly, the goal is not to make it go away.
Right.
You know, the goal is to let it happen. So it's nice that by accepting these things to happen, it makes it go away. But that's not, you just got to forget about that being the goal. And now when you have this, it's like you get to that point, you have this choice. Either I'm now going to fully panic, or now I'm going to, you know, I'm going to understand this and let it happen. And that's the hard part to do. And it still happens to me where I can, you know, it comes too fast and I will still go that direction. But that's what I'm practicing every day, by doing the things that make me more anxious and scared, to prove to myself that I can do it. Because another major point is when people are, you know, anxious and panicky and things like that, they think you think you're going to lose control. You think if you panic, you're not going to be able to do anything. You think the panic is going to kill you itself because it gives you all those weird symptoms. And then everything about panicking is terrifying. But for me, I found that the only way to prove myself that those things aren't true was to actually do the things that are going to make me panic. And if it so happens that I do panic, to let it happen.
Wow.
And then once, there's a point, like it's building up, you're panicking, you're like really scared, and you go to that point where you like run away and you escape. For me, that was calling an ambulance. For someone else, it might be like, you know, drinking loads of water, or going into the bed, or staying home, something like that. When you get to that point where like you just can't take anymore, but if you just let it happen and you keep going to the point where you know that's, you know, you think something really bad is going to happen, but you just let it just goes. It's like, wow, you get to that point and it drops, and you've unlocked something, because you get that terrified, it gets that high, and you let it happen and you continue going, doing what you're doing, and then you realize, oh, I am in control. I am actually fine, and nothing's wrong. But if you do it in the way where, okay, I'm really scared, shit, I can't do this, and then I go run and hide, or I do something to escape that situation, you've now told your body, oh, okay, I just survived. Whew. You get it?
Again, if I'm in
I
danger.
just survived. If I have that situation again, I would have died. I will die. If I'd literally just saved myself, and I would have died if that happened. And then your body, like, it believes now that you just survived that situation by escaping it, and it builds that foundation of anxiety much, much stronger. And so that's why
in that way.
So that's why it's like the kind of thing is like, you have to accept this uncomfortable feelings as much as you can now, and that will actually make it easier in the long term. Because the more you wait to face the things that make you scared, I got someone knocking my. The more you wait to to face the things that make you scared, the less the more harder it's going to be. It's about taking that really hard situation now, for the sake of making it easier for yourself in the long run. Let me just check the door, please.
That's cool. But yeah, I hope everyone is, because I know I'm resonating with exactly what Peter's saying. Like, in my own journey, and it's a weird one. I'm reading this book at the moment called How Do We Join the Stage? What I'll do, Mads, nice to meet you. When Peter is back, I'll ask him to invite you to the stage, and then you can stop listening to me. I was going to say, like, what Peter's saying, it seems like it takes, because one of the questions I have for Peter, Peter, Mads is asking how to join the stage. I was just chatting rubbish, and we can
yes.
ask you, because
I can add you as a presenter if you'd like to join. And then, by the way, everyone, so after this talk, we can go back into the lounge, and everyone can, if you all want to go on camera together, you all can. So we can do that. But Mads, would you like to join the stage? Okay.
Peter,
let's say
you kick me off the stage.
You want to leave the stage?
Oh, no. Do you want me to? No, I'm happy to stay.
No, stay. I think let's. Okay, who's next? Let's see. Oh, there's questions.
Let's go.
Well, let me answer a few of these questions first. So we have a question from Cassie that says, do you have trouble trying to do breathing exercises when you are in the middle of a panic attack? Now, this is an interesting question that actually something I learned that completely changed the way I look at this. I used to always try and do breathing exercises when I was having a panic attack. A lot of my panic attacks was focused around like me having heart problems, or or I can't breathe. I feel like I can't breathe, and then people would always say, "Okay, do breathing exercises, breathe deep and things like that." But I actually found that all that did was make me panic more the more I tried to do breathing exercises. Because one, it made my focus more onto the things that I was scared of, and it was like me trying to avoid whatever feeling I'm feeling. And there's a phrase that we use: what we resist persists. And so the more you try and resist something, such as that feeling of you can't breathe, by doing a breathing exercises, the more it kind of continues and gets worse. Even to the fact that the more I try and breathe and slow it down, I'm panicking. It's not going to slow down, you know? And when it doesn't slow down, I'm like, what am I doing wrong? I'm doing breathing exercises. Now I've convinced myself I actually do have a heart problem because the breathing exercises should slow it down. So now I'll call the ambulance. And so, yeah, I did find that. And what I found was, and what I learned was, you don't need to do a panic attack. You don't need to do a breathing exercise during a panic attack. You actually don't need to do anything, because the definition of panic attack is that nothing's happening. It's a misinterpretation of your natural symptoms of fight or flight, creating a cycle that kind of just is scaring you a lot. So it literally means that there's nothing dangerous happening. And so once I stopped doing breathing exercise and things like that, and stopped doing any kind of safety behavior, it got so much easier to do. Sonia says, do I feel like I'm cured from my anxiety now? The way I always say it is like this: anxiety is a very natural, normal thing. Everyone has it. Everyone will experience higher and lower levels in their life. And some of us with anxiety disorders just have a really, really, really high level, and we're not managing it very well. And you learn through all these techniques I'm talking about and things like that, how to better, understand your body and how it works. And it can become much, much lower. But I don't think there is anything to cure, basically. That's the way I think about it. Because a lot of people like to say, well, I hate anxiety, or anxiety's, anxiety is tricking me and things like, and I just think, I don't like to use the whole anxiety is a bad thing. It's a good thing. Okay, so not just simply it's a good thing, but technically it is, because you need anxiety to live. At a healthy level, it's a very useful thing. It motivates you as well. It keeps you alive if you were in a dangerous situation. So it's a good thing to have, but you just don't need it so high.
What you were saying as well earlier about those responses, like if you feel like you're about to have a heart attack, calling an ambulance is logically the right thing to do. The same way that if you feel something awful is about to happen, removing yourself from it is naturally the thing to do. So you can't really blame your body's response or even your mind's response, but it's just that understanding of, wait, I'm not actually in that danger that I think I am.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's panic attacks and anxiety panic attacks specifically are, the solution to it is it's like the opposite of what you think you should do. It's kind of illogical. It's the opposite of what you think you should do. So you think, obviously, if you're panicking when you go to the supermarket, stay away from the supermarket. But that's actually the thing that's going to make it worse. So it's natural to and normal.
Some amazing questions here, by the way.
Pardon?
People are asking amazing questions.
Yeah, let's see. They are really great. I had to say no to a relative when asked for help. They got offended. That's interesting. This one's tough. I mean, the way I'd say is there's, no one is obliged. So, for example, I've been in a position when I was, panicking and being terrified, and where I would ask for help and people wouldn't be able to do it. And I might have been upset, but in the end, everyone's still dealing with their own things. So you shouldn't feel like obliged that you have to help someone else if you can't. But in terms of how do I make it good again, I think it's just explaining that kind of thing. Like, you're not always like emotionally available to be able to help, and that doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that sometimes you have to think about yourself just as that person does. So let's see. So I wonder if anyone else. So we've got lots of people to chat. Maybe let's bring someone else on the stage to join us.
I saw that Mads had wanted to come on a little bit earlier.
Mads, yeah. Let's see if we can add Mads to the stage. If they do want to join. Otherwise, actually, what we could do is head back. Oh yeah, Mads would like to join. Okay. Add.
Well, to do that,
I'm going to add you as a presenter.
Can I ask you what positives have come from your anxiety? Because it seems like a huge, incredible understanding of your own emotions and your body, and also that confidence that's come from that seems incredible.
Yeah. So, in terms of positives, there's really quite. If you ask me, would I trade, like, if I'd never had to deal with anxiety, would I do that? No, I'd rather have went through that terrible experience, because I feel like it's given me way more insight into like the meaningful stuff in life. You know, like I was speaking about this yesterday. I was thinking about it yesterday. I was like, now anything makes me happy, because I was stuck in my house for so long. I couldn't do anything. I felt really bad, and now like just if I can go to the park and look at some trees, I'm like super thrilled, and I really love it. And like I really don't stress about any of what I consider like little things in life, and I feel a lot happier in that sense, and I think that contributed. And then also I just feel more confident in what like people are able to do, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a good one. So I added Mads as a presenter. So Mads, if you click down here, you should be able to see the join stage.
Or down there.
Which side are you on?
Right now, you pointed that way, which was weird, but maybe your screen's flipped.
For me, I'm on the
Oh yeah. You'll be on your left.
Yeah, trying to figure out like how this looks.
By the way, people, my hairline doesn't normally start behind my ears, but I had the wise idea to shave my head. That I would let you all know, in case you can see yourself reflected in my forehead.
Hello. Welcome.
Hi.
How are you doing?
I don't know why I'm so confident to be doing this.
That's great. No, it's fantastic.
Sorry, I just found your TikTok last night whilst I was up panicking at like 5 a.m. So I thought I would join. I'll just quickly tell you a little bit about me from here.
Yeah.
I'm 26 now, but when I was like 15 to 21, I had really bad health anxiety, and it kind of came from nowhere whilst I was at school. I remember being sat in assembly, and I was like, I'm going to pass out. But I didn't, but I got up and that was like the start of me kind of avoiding stuff. And I kind of developed stomach issues, IBS, and just was so anxious for years, probably about 6 years, until I skipped the 6 years, and then I ended up taking antidepressants, and they started helping me. And I'm now a DJ. Like, my life sort of changed dramatically. It was really amazing. Until last week. So this is a bit of like a sad story for me at the moment, or I'm sort of dwelling in this at the moment. But I basically smoked some weed, and I don't usually smoke weed. And I passed out and had what people around me would say was a seizure. So obviously in my head I'm like, fuck, like I'm gonna die. And since then, so like for the past week, I've just been, it's like I've gone back to who I was like 6 years ago. and I'm like cancelling everything. I'm like, I just need to see someone. I've been to the hospital and I've been to see a doctor, and then obviously you have to wait like to see someone, a specialist. So now I feel like I have to put my life on hold until that's all done. But then I'm noticing that stuff is anxiety. So like on Saturday I had a DJ gig. I was on my way there and I was like, oh my God, the sensation of panic is coming and I'm about to die, basically. So I said to the Uber driver, turn around, go home. And then on the way back, I was like, okay, it's eased a little bit. So I knew, okay, that's anxiety. But it was also anxiety that got me into the position with the weed where I passed out. So right now, I'm just trying to just ease the anxiety until I see someone specialist. But also it's like you end up being so scared of dying that you just stop living. Like,
yeah, no, I know what you mean. Like if it was me, I had similar like feeling in that way for a while, and it kind of gets to a point where you're so terrified that you just don't do anything at all, and there's now this risk and reward thing where in life we have to accept that there are going to be some risks and something could happen to us, and what I found is the more we try and make sure that that is not the case, that nothing can happen, and try and like chase this idea of like certainty where we're going to be fine, then the less you like live, because you just end up restricting your life as much as you can, even no matter what's happened before. And the moment when you kind of accept, okay, well, yeah, there might be something could happen, then you start being able to give up the obsessive stuff that you might do to like make sure you don't do anything that puts you in danger or that makes you anxious, and then start focusing on doing the things that you can do to be more confident and to make sure that you're healthy and things like that. So that's one huge thing that helped me, because I was always just trying to make sure that everything, I didn't care if I had anxiety, I just wanted to be safe 100%. But then now I kind of feel like, okay, look, I'm going to just let this, look, I can't make it 100%, and I forget that, but there's things I can do, like eat healthy and do exercise and stuff like that, that can make the percentage, like I'll be more safe and healthy, but I'll actually live too as well. And so like, if I would say, continue to do the things like when you turned around in the Uber, and I know that's giving into the anxiety, and then it might feel a bit harder next time when you get that same sensation the next time you're going, but it's worth it to just push yourself that little bit, not a huge amount, but at the time. And because if you imagine you made it here now, you made it back, but imagine if you continued going, and how you would probably not even feel that you need to tell that story, because you would have been fine. And so it's that kind of balance, and it's a step at a time, but it's taking those steps, but thank you so much for sharing and joining us here.
Thank you.
But yeah, and thank you everyone for joining. I'm just noticing the time now. So the stage is finishing at 6, but we can all go into the lounge if we want and continue, and for a little bit, if you're interested. It's Nayl, Mads, if you want to come. Yeah. So everyone who's here, we can go once the stage ends. We can all jump into the. I'll just explain how it works. We jump into the lounge, and it's a similar chat room, but there'll be a join call button at the top. And everyone, if you just want to click that, if you're comfortable going on the camera, and if you're not, you can just stay in the chat. But if you want to watch, just go join the call and turn your camera off and your microphone off, and then you can join and just kind of sit in. So now I guess it's kind of the hanging out part.
Wait, before I
So
hang
thank
up,
you so much. Thanks, Nayl, for joining. Thank you, Mads, for sharing with
I would
us.
say Mads, huge credit to you. For me, when I came onto the stage, and I work at Tevent, I was nervous, and you said like you don't know what gave you the confidence. I just want to say I'm in awe of you right now for getting up and speaking so openly and coherently and articulately, and letting yourself be vulnerable because it helps other people. And you said help me as well. So thank you for that.
I mean, honestly, I think it's a little bit of what Peter was saying. Oh, yeah, when he used to go to the hospital, it's probably coming to talk to you is like, oh, thank God, relief. Like,
Yeah.
but if it helps anyone, then I'm glad.
Yeah.
Awesome. Cheers, Peter.
Well, thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Okay, I'm going to end the stage, and I'll see everyone in the lounge for a bit, and then that was our first event, which seemed pretty successful. So
Nice.
we'll see you all there, whoever wants to join us. Bye-bye.